Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our look at the Joss Whedon, John Cassaday run on Astonishing X-Men. This is part 2. We're going to be looking at number 7 through 12. Let's get started. I gotta say, I didn't like this 6-issue run as much as the first. It's still pretty fun, still pretty darn good superhero comics. Starting off with a really nice Cassaday cover with the great Laura Martin colors. So we start off at the Charles Xavier Institute for Mutants, or whatever the hell it's called. And we see the grounds, and we see Wing. He's the character, the young mutant who lost all of his powers. He was given the mutant cure against his will. And he's walking through the grounds by himself, and he comes to a cliff. And he's thinking, I'm special. I'm not a normal human. I can fly. So this does not look good, because we now know, well, we all know that he cannot fly. He could have a week ago, but now he can't. And now we start off with some kick-ass action. Dangerous. We see Cyclops. He's basically surfing the Blackbird jet. The X-Men are headed towards New York City. Part of their mandate to be more of just a proactive superhero team. So one of Mole Man's monsters has escaped from the Earth's crust, Earth's core, and is attacking New York City. And so the X-Men are going to stop him, because that's their new deal. Cyclops dives off the jet, lands right in the guy's face, this monster's face. I don't know why I'm calling him a guy. And he's all thinking about stuff in his head, you know, because this is his first time back with the X-Men in years. He's been in captivity. And he says, I'm writing a monster's nostrils, because he's grabbing onto his nose. I really should concentrate. Meanwhile, Kitty is on the ground helping, trying to rescue civilians and keep them safe. She can't stop thinking about how, you know, she thinks she might have blown it, come out a little too strong with Peter. She hadn't seen him in so long. She loves him. And she's worried about his, how he feels. And she also says, I should probably concentrate here. Because, I mean, she's got a lot on her plate. And then I like this, how we see Wolverine now attacking the monster savagely, not thinking anything except for, I really like beer. That was pretty funny. We see Emma. She's also in charge of helping out the civilians. She's helping these civilians evacuate in a calm fashion. And she used her mind powers. So I kind of like this. We see all these office workers. They're like zombies. Each one is thinking, I want to leave in a swift and orderly fashion. I want to leave in a swift and orderly fashion. So it's kind of an interesting way to show how Emma's powers work in comics. Kind of like that panel. Really like the colors too. So the Blackbird is strafing the thing. And basically the X-Men are just, this is a very typical superhero comic. And then the Fantastic Four show up. Ben Grimm is kind of pissed off. He's like, we do big monsters in Manhattan. That's our signature piece. Of course, Cyclops is very diplomatic and just says, well, we're happy to lend a hand, even though they were there first, and they were like, or halfway to kicking this monster's ass anyway. We cut back to the school. We see Wing standing on the precipice here, and his best friend Hasuke shows up. And it's so fucking weird here, because she basically says, if you had any real guts, you'd jump. She's basically convincing him to jump off the cliff. So really fucking weird. We'll find out why soon. God, this kaiju kind of looks like Godzilla's nephew, Minya. And so this is kind of interesting, seeing the FF and X-Men teaming up to fight a monster, just like any other typical superhero comic. except this is drawn way better and is a lot funnier and has better dialogue. This is pretty great. Ben Grimm says, "Hey, Colossus, help me out here. Want to play whack-a-mole?" And they grab this 18-wheeler and just whomp this poor kaiju back into his hole. I like this. Ben Grimm says, he's chatting with Wolverine. He says, "Didn't they come up with a cure for your kind? You got a problem with mutants? I meant Canadians." That's a kind of joke you wouldn't normally see in a Marvel comic. So they finish, they defeat the monster. The FF take off. We see that woman, Special Agent Brand, the one in charge of SWORD, and she's basically called up before the board for her actions. And she's completely unapologetic. She says, "For the safety of this planet, there's no one I will not sacrifice. No monster I will not call friend." So she's totally unrepentant. Look at this great colors once again. And it looks like she's going to still be allowed to run SWORD. And also, kind of sounds like she's still going to not be very friendly to the mutants. She's going to sacrifice any mutant she can to keep world peace. Back at the X Mansion, they're watching the news, and they're barely mentioning how the X-Men saved New York City. There's kind of a fun little discussion about how the media works, and the news media. And then Hasuke runs in, and she says, "I think something's happened to Wing. Wing's missing. Everyone's been looking all over campus. They can't find her. The Stepford Cuckoos are getting weird psychic emanations." And this is another young mutant. I think her name's Blindfold, and she's another psychic. She talks in this weird cryptic language. It's almost like bad poetry. And then we finally see Wing. He jumped off the cliff. He's dead. But here's the kicker. As the camera pulls back, it turns out he was in the danger room the whole time. He was doing a campus exterior simulation. And so we realize that Hasuke wasn't his friend. That was a danger room construct, urging him to kill himself. So this is very intriguing. We got number 8 here. A special cover. I guess this is the limited edition. That was the one I picked up on accident. Well, it doesn't matter. It's kind of cool seeing these pencils of John Cassaday. But I think I'd rather just have the normal cover. I just get whatever the dollar bins give me. This issue starts off kind of bizarrely. Just every panel's like cutting between these different nebulous stories. And we see these two kind of country bumpkin guys. They're in the loft of a barn talking about how we're going to be rich. We don't know what's going on yet. We also cut back to Emma, the Stepford Cuckoos, and the rest of the X-Men. And they hear this sound. And all of a sudden, all of the psychic mutants, including Emma and the Stepford Cuckoos and that Blindfold girl, they're hit by a psychic blast. And they're all knocked out. Unconscious. They run them all to the infirmary. And now we cut back to those guys in the barn. And they're watching, and they're just like, "Oh my God, it's coming to life. Is he looking at us?" And the whole barn basically explodes. And it turns out that they were housing a sentinel. They found the sentinel in the woods, I guess. It's like pretty much half of a sentinel, a damaged sentinel. The sentinel is crying, "I hear you, Lord, I come." And it starts dragging itself. We see these farmer guys. One of them's got a thing impaled through his leg. Back at the mansion, Wolverine has been checking the grounds looking for Wing. Once again, look at these colors are so deep and rich. I love them. Scott is basically talking to Emma, thinking that she can't hear him, but, he loves her, so he's urging her to wake up. He's like, you're the strongest psychic in the world. Come on, Emma, you can pull yourself out of this. Turns out she's hearing him the whole time, and she's also hearing the psychic voices of those shadowy characters she's been, talking to recently that we still don't know what's going on, but it doesn't sound good. Oh man, look at these colors. How we see the Sentinel crawling through the woods. We cut away to Special Agent Brand. It seems like they know that something's going on at the X-Mansion, and they're going to be monitoring the progress. So now we're back at the mansion. Lockheed the Dragon shows up. And, he can't talk, but he says, guys, he's like, follow me. And he leads them to the grounds, and the Sentinel's attacking. So now we're going to have a nice little, very traditional Sentinel fight for the X-Men. So Scott tells Kitty to get all the kids into the danger room. I guess the danger room is designed to be the safest place in the mansion. There's some fun, great X-Men action going on. But Scott's had enough. He says, I want this thing off my fucking lawn. Well, he doesn't say that literally. And he takes off his visor and lets the full force of his optic blast just obliterate the thing. He's like, makes a crater and knocks down every tree for like an acre. But it does stop the threat of the Sentinel. Cyclops orders Wolverine to basically tear its guts out to make sure it's dead. And meanwhile, Kitty is getting the children to safety, getting them into the danger room. And they find Wing. So now we see the real Hasuke here. And she's crying, of course. She was his close friend. And then the door disappears in the danger room. Wolverine, now we cut back to Wolverine. He's ripping the shit out of that Sentinel. And Kitty says, guys, I can't find the door. I'm going to phase through. You'll be safe here. But that's not true. And we hear this voice. It says, leave the children with me. I only need a minute to murder them all. And we see Wing's reanimated corpse. Pretty horrifying there. His body's all twisted and broken. So now the X-Men realize what's going on. They've been duped by someone, by something, and they wanted the kids in there, in the danger room. So they're trying their best to get inside, but they can't. And then Emma finally wakes up and shows up, and she says, our enemy's not in the danger room. It is the danger room. The danger room is angry. So we've never seen this happen before. Next, we got a pretty great John Cassaday cover, The Sea of Skulls. Emma really's got to stop wearing that white lipstick. Makes her look weird. So I guess they explain how this could have happened. The danger room years ago, Professor Xavier updated it with Shi'ar technology, and they figured maybe that's why it's attained sentience. And Emma says it was already sentience. It was probably that Shi'ar technology. Maybe all Shi'ar technology is sentient. But what happened tonight is something new. It mutated. So the danger room is kind of a mutant. And she basically says, guys, think about it. All the danger room has ever known is violence. The danger room was designed to attack the X-Men every day. So it This is going to be quite tricky. Look at this amazing 2-page spread. The Danger Room is basically simulating hell. Hell is for children. And this is just crazy, the amount of detail in here. And that the Danger Room is speaking through the reanimated corpse of Wing, basically terrorizing Kitty and the kids. Kitty's trying to keep everyone alive, keep everyone okay. So they finally try to like fuck with the CPU of the Danger Room. Colossus jumps through the ceiling. I guess there's all these wires here. Tears the shit out of him. And we see that the Danger Room is starting to kill the kids. Man, that's an amazing panel. The photorealism of the face there, with Laura Martin's amazing colors doing the lightning zaps. So then the Danger Room changes the scenario to this desert setting. Excuse me. Sorry guys, I'm really, really sick, but I really wanted to make this video. I want to move on. So now the Beast goes into that mission control, sees what he can do. And then Wolverine wonders if it's like a psychic computer brain. Who else is he talking to? And we see the Blackbird jet. We see it turn on and rev up. Not looking good. God, look at this spectacular art here. So in the Danger Room, I mean, with its hard light functions, it can basically just, it's in control of all reality. So it's just making things, all this crazy stuff. Kitty's trying to reason with it, but she realizes that, no, this Danger Room is not happy, and definitely has a problem with what she calls her father. The Danger Room thinks of Charles Xavier as her father and isn't pleased with him. And then the Blackbird jet just slams into the mansion and attacks. It's using its artillery to strafe the X-Men, trying to kill them. It's a really nice kitty there. And then finally this reanimated Wing disappears. Because in a second, the Danger Room's not going to need a construct for its words. It's going to make one. And we see here this is a danger now. Since it's not a room anymore, this new villain is just called Danger, which is not the best name for a villain. But kind of cool little robot design with the cyber dreadlocks. Okay, let's move on. Number 10, pretty weird cover. I think it's a photo, but then again, Joss Whedon's such a clever guy. I don't know, this could be some kind of weird art technique. I don't know. So now we have this kind of flash forward. We see Charles Xavier. He's been in Genosha all this time, the island that was a mutant haven that was recently destroyed by the Sentinels. And we see Danger within the Blackbird jet heading towards Genosha, the whole time in a mental dialogue with Charles Xavier saying, like, I'm coming, Father. You know what I want. Now we're back to where we left off. And this is just basically one long fight scene in this comic. And it's interesting, once again, the X-Men get their asses handed to them. The full force of the X-Men, Danger just beats the shit out of them, basically. I mean, Danger does know all of their weaknesses. Danger's been fighting the X-Men for decades. She knows everything about their powers, how to neutralize them. Yeah, this is the second time in 12 issues. X-Men keep beating these villains that beat the shit out of them. Yeah, they're not doing good here. But they're doing their best. Some pretty fun fight choreography going on. I like this, how she's going to drill right through Emma's diamond forehead. God, the colors on that, crazy. Like total airbrush. Even though I'm sure it's computer. Meanwhile, that Special Agent Brand and her SWORD crew, they're watching the whole thing. And just like we said earlier, we realized that she'd be all too happy if the mutants were taken out. Because she just cares about her safety. And because Ord from Breakworld is going to keep trying to invade us as long as the X-Men are around, it would really solve a problem for her if Danger just killed them all. Here she is meeting Ord to keep him abreast on what's going on, so she even admits it. She says, somebody's doing my job for me. So there's some really fun fight stuff going on. John Cassaday. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, I'm sure they fought stronger villains before, but just the fact that the knowledge that Danger has of them and knows all their weaknesses and strengths, that's why she's kicking their ass. Man, look at that. So here's an interesting thing. Emma in her diamond form is going to attack her, and she says, "You're going to change form and let me end this, Emma." And she says, "Why would I do that?" "Because I know the truth." And so Emma powers down and lets her conquer out. So just another part of this whole intriguing thing about, like, what is Emma up to? Now we're cutting back to where we started. We see Charles and Genosha, and Danger's heading there. Charles says, "Yeah, no wonder you beat my team. You fought them 1,000 times in that room." And then he says, "But you've never fought me." So this kind of gives us a clue of what happens next issue. We get to see a really kick-ass Charles Xavier for once. Kind of an odd cover here. Kind of nice, but also kind of weird. It just doesn't really seem to belong. So now we're everything's up to the present, I guess. Danger dives out of the Blackbird jet. It's pretty indestructible. It just lands on the ground and rolls over. It's fine. And she confronts Charles Xavier's wheelchair we see here. But Charles has put this, I think it's a dead mutant in there. And then all of a sudden, Charles Xavier driving a semi-truck bursts through the wall, crashing right into Danger. Just like something from Terminator 2. And he's just like pushing her through all these buildings. And he's basically heading towards this power station. and he hits the brakes, and it sends Danger straight into this power station. And looks like she's getting fried. That is some good pyrotechnics. Back at the mansion, luckily Kitty and Peter, there's a young mutant there who's a healer, and he healed them. So they're not going to die from being impaled. And they're all talking about, they're comparing notes, and they realize she's heading towards Genosha. She wants to kill Charles more than anything. That's why she let us live. She doesn't really care about us. So Danger frees herself from the power station, but she's weakened enough that now Charles can at least psychically subdue her in his whatever mind cage, or whatever you want to call it. Cutting back to Westchester, we get to see a pretty good emotional scene between Kitty and Peter, finally talking about, she's worried that you drove him away. He's like, no, you don't understand, Kitty. That's not it at all. It's a very good soap opera scene. Then back to Charles in Danger. Charles basically just trying to reason with it. It's almost like a philosophical debate. And now we're back to reality. And it looks like Danger's getting back online. He doesn't have much time. But then luckily the X-Men show up. And they all parachute down. Even their parachutes have X's on them, of course. You got to. Excuse me, guys. God, I'm the worst. I'm the worst YouTuber in the world. Always sneezing and coughing. So, it looks like Danger's down for the count, though. But just then, right as the X-Men arrive, they arrive just in time. Danger kind of puts part of her consciousness in this giant sentinel that was lying underwater, half damaged. This is the sentinel that killed all those mutants in Genosha there a few months back. So she's reanimated it with her consciousness inside. It's the size of a skyscraper. Look at this thing. That's the scale here. So it's like a bizarre sentinel. It's got 3 heads. It's like a Hindu statuary of a sentinel. And so now we're headed for the climax here. Big robot battle. Nice cover there. And this is another issue that's just a lot of fighting. So Wolverine wants Colossus to do another fastball special, throw him into the guts of the Sentinel so he can tear it out. But the Sentinel's powering up with its like Omni Blaster. That's how it destroyed Genosha earlier. It's basically the power of an atom bomb. So Kitty says, everyone grab me. And Kitty phases out. And not just her, everyone touching her. So it works. And everyone's okay. Of course, Kitty's wasted by it. She's never phased out that many people at once before. So it's going to take the Sentinel a little while to power back up. In the meantime, he sends out all of these robot killer drones. And so Colossus does a fastball special Wolverine. That's some pretty crazy cool shit. Him just like slashing through these flying robot drones. The Beast is taking Xavier to safety. But we see a reconstructed Danger. Pretty great design here. These cool skeletal butterfly wings. And so here's another weird moment. So Emma isn't fighting. And she actually just walks off. And she walks down to this room. And it's the people. You don't see who they are. But it's the people she's been communicating with. These cryptic messages. And it really does seem like this is making Emma seem to be like a traitor. Like the way she's talking to them. Like, oh, I'm so glad that this facade will be over soon, you know? Which I hope is not the case, because I really like this new Emma, her character. Now we're back to the Beast and Charles. And Beast is taking on Danger. And Beast basically realizes he's going to have to go to his instinctual, bestial thinking. Because this, logic and forethought isn't going to work against Danger. Danger knows all of the Beast's moves. So he figures if he goes just instinctual and primal, that's not intellectual. It's not like Danger will be able to figure out what he's going to do next. And meanwhile, the X-Men are fighting all these drones. That's some fun action. Emma shows back up again. Saves Scott's butt. Man, if I was Marvel Comics, I would just pay John Cassaday so much money to just draw as many superhero comics as he could. I would totally be a Wednesday warrior again. There's a comic like this. I'd probably go every Wednesday and be like, hey, where's the new whatever Forbish man? So now Kitty says, Peter, you got a fastball special me into the robot. I can do way more damage with my phasing power. Because when Kitty phases through things, through technology or electronics, it fritzes them out. So he does. He throws her. It's kind of funny seeing her fly through the air like that. She phases into the thing, and we keep cutting back to the Beast. Look at this. This is a great panel right there. But it looks like the Beast is reverting. He's like becoming really savage. And at one point, Charles psychically tells Beast, he says, hey, her consciousness isn't even in that construct anymore. She's fully in the Sentinel. And Beast just says, mine. So, Beast is usually very erudite and brilliant. So it really looks like inadvertently he's gone back to his Beast form, which don't even know that's a thing. I've never seen Beast not be incredibly intelligent, but he has worried about it in previous issues. He has been like, yeah, I might be licking my balls one day, I'm fine now, but maybe I will become a Beast. So now Kitty's inside the Sentinel, and she's poking around the computers, and she realizes that Danger blocked a crucial memory from the Sentinel. So she basically talks to the Sentinel, because they're both inhabiting the shell. And she basically says, this Danger robot kept a memory from you. And she lets him see it. And then all of a sudden, the Sentinel stops fighting. Even gives Kitty some flying drones to descend to the ground. And the Sentinel just takes off into the sky, into outer space. Because when she showed him the memory, the Sentinel couldn't take it. I guess even a Sentinel has some kind of ethics or morality, which I never knew. I thought this was a little silly. But that's the reason why Danger hid that memory. She knew that the Sentinel might, wig out. So everything looks like a happy ending. And Charles is all like, all of you made me so proud. And then Scott says, you knew. And he says, when I was about to crush her, oh, I'm sorry, it's Peter. Peter says, when I was about to crush her, she was in my head and she told me that you knew she was sentient. It's been years that she's been sentient. You heard her and ignored her. You knew she was alive and you kept her trapped for years so you could run your experiments. You understand why that's a problem with me, Peter says, which, he just escaped a place that was doing that to him. And then Charles tries to make some excuses and he says, you guys need to be prepared. Mutant kind needs to be protected whatever the cost. And Wolverine rightfully says, what you been doing, hanging out with Magneto? Because that fucking sounds like the kind of shit he would say. And, this is one of a few times where Professor Xavier has kind of let the X-Men down, where he's done something a little Machiavellian like this. And I like how Scott kind of calls him on it. He says, oh yeah, we'll come around, right? What does it hurt? But it looks like that's not the case this time. They're really pissed with him and kind of let down by him. And Scott finally kind of goes off on Emma. Emma says she kind of agrees with Charles. He's like, yeah, of course you do. That's exactly the kind of elitist crap you spout daily, Emma. And then he says, why'd you walk out in the middle of the firefight? So there's a rift between these two. And as the camera pulls away and then zooms in on Emma, we hear these voices in her head, the conspiring voices. And they're like, okay, this is going to be a little trickier now because Scott now kind of suspects something's off with Emma. But they say nothing lasts forever. And look who it is, guys. The Hellfire Club. So that's who's been communicating with Emma all this time. Of course, if you guys know, Emma, that's where Emma Frost first appeared. She was a member of the Hellfire Club. And then she became good at some point. Oh, during Grant Morrison's run, I think? Maybe? So that's it for the second part of our 4-part look at the Astonishing X-Men under the guiding hands of Joss Whedon and John Cassaday. Hope you guys like looking at this. Excuse me, sorry about that. And join me next time, probably tomorrow. I'll probably have the 3rd chapter up, looking at numbers 13 through 18. So hope you guys like that, and I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.